Well, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Deputy Director of Illinois Works, Dr. Norman Ruano, I want to say welcome to everyone. Thank you all for joining the third installment of This Is My Trade, hosted by Illinois Works and Chicago Women in Trades, where today's panelists are insulators, pipe fitters, and sprinkler fitters. My name is Dr. Carlita Alston, and I am on the professional development team for the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program. Joining me tonight is Miss Olivia Meisenbach, who will be providing virtual production support. Olivia, can you say hello?
Evening, everyone. Hello, my name is Olivia Meisenbach. I am a technical writer for Illinois Works, and I am looking forward to speaking with you all today. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. And also joining us is Dr. Gia Suggs. Dr. Suggs, can you say hello?
Hi, everyone, and welcome.
Thank you. And so Olivia will also add a link in the chat for our fourth and final panel discussion where we will be featuring bricklayers on October the 15th at 6 o'clock p.m. So feel free to register early to reserve your seat. And now I want to introduce to you your host for tonight, Director of Chicago Women in Trades, Ms. Renee Jones. And after the panel discussion, she is going to lead us into our evaluation. Take it away, Ms. Renee.
Thank you, Dr. Coletta. This is Renee Jones. I am not only the director of Chicago Women in Trades, I'm a tradeswoman as well, journeywoman electrician. And I am the pleasure of introducing you to a fine, extinguished panel that have years of experience in the trade, and they're going to tell you all about them. I have Delia Alfred, I have Arlena Hampton, and also Elisa Gutierrez. So I'm going to start off by letting them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they do in the trade and all about how you can get in as well. So part of your introductions, I did send you all a set of questions. And I want you to start off, Elisa, with introducing yourself and telling us about your trade. What did you do before internet? What do you do in the trades? What are the requirements for your trade? How many years in the apprentice programs does it require? And what are the journeywoman wages? And you can talk as much as you can about those things. Thank you, Elisa.
Renee. Hi, everybody. So my name is Alyssa Gutierrez, and I am a journey level sprinkler fitter with Local 281. So what I do on a day-to-day basis is install and maintain fire protection, fire sprinkler, or fire suppression systems. Basically, if there's a fire in a building, our systems are there to respond to that emergency immediately and allow people to exit the building safely, to protect property after that. And then a step further is where we make the situation safer for the firefighters who will come after that. And so my work involves installing brand new systems, modifying systems, and then repairing and making sure those systems stay up to code on an annual basis. A little bit about our program is that it is a 5-year apprenticeship. Um, some of the basic requirements are you have to be at least 18 years to apply. You'll need your high school diploma or your GED, a copy of your birth certificate, your driver's license, reliable transportation because we cover the Chicagoland area all the way from Wisconsin, the border of Wisconsin, a little bit into Indiana, and a few hours out west. We do have a drug test that everyone has to pass. You do have to be physically fit to perform the work, meaning we work up in the air. All of our pipe is pretty much installed at the top of the ceiling. And so you must be comfortable working at a level of 8-foot ladder, 10-foot ladder, lifts that take you 30 to 50 feet off the ground. And then you have to, physically be able to carry that pipe onto your piece of machinery or ladder and physically install it into the air. So let's see, a little bit about my background before I got into the trades. I attended DePaul University for a time, and then I was kind of trying to find my way. I was in my late 20s and doing odd jobs like nannying or Uber and Lyft driving. And I found myself unable to accept having a desk job. And so I was looking for something with great pay, great benefits. I was right around 26, 27, where I was thinking I need insurance and it would be great to have a pension. And I started looking at the trades. And so I discovered Chicago Women in Trades, and I joined one of their technical opportunities program, which was fantastic. It provided me all these kind of information on who I was applying for as far as the building trades. It allowed me to get my hands on all kinds of material. Did I want to be an electrician? What was conduit? Did I want to be a carpenter? How did it feel to pick up plywood? Did I want to be a painter? We had the opportunity to tour some of these facilities and get our hands on things. And so I appreciated it because once I, applied to a program, I was prepared. We did test prep. Once I was accepted, they help you with interview prep. Um, and then honestly, once I got in, their community of sisterhood, because when you get in, you may be the only one at your company, and that's been true for me. And in my local, there's probably about 30 women total out in the field, and you may not meet many of them. And so that's kind of how I fell into this. I came in with this attitude of, well, if I don't like it, then at least now I know, and let's move on to something else. And I ended up really enjoying it. I enjoy the challenge. Um, I enjoy working on new projects every single day, and I really enjoy getting to see the behind the scenes of a lot of areas that most people wouldn't think about. Um, let's see, did I hit all your questions?
You
I
did.
think I did, yes.
Want to follow up on, you said that they have to be physically fit, and I'm real well aware of that. For everyone else, is there a fitness test for the sprinkler fitters?
There's no official test, but there is if in the event that you're accepted, um there is a physical portion during our orientation, which pretty much means we're going to ask you to, can you climb up these ladders? Can you go on this equipment? Okay, we're here to work. I need you to get, this material from point A to point B in our training center to give you an idea of what it feels like to move for 8 hours a day. And then ultimately, when you're out on the job site, as especially as an apprentice, what are your main role is to support the journey level workers there, getting them what they need, helping things move efficiently. And so as long as you feel that, you can do that while learning those skills, then you are physically fit to do the job.
Lisa, one more from me. What is the wages of a journeywoman when she taps out?
Right now, we just received a package increase, and so are officially at 60 an hour on your take home check. Now, that does not mean your whole package. When you're talking about, union work, you do have your hourly wage rate, but your whole package also includes your benefits, your pension. We have an annuity account and a supplemental pension. And so, but right now, yes, on my take home, um, technically I'm making 62.50 an hour because I'm a foreman on my site, but 60.
Oh, that's great. That's great news to hear that you're a foreman. That's wonderful. I would like to follow up with Delia. Can you give us the questions, the same ones that Lisa just answered? Tell us about your trade.
So we are mechanical insulators, and we install various insulation for mechanical systems, including ductwork, piping, boilers, tanks and vessels, and also sprinkler lines when they're in a garage and they're heat traced. And we also do fire stopping, asbestos abatement, We have a 5-year program. The first year is 6 weeks of paid training, which is a stipend. Years 2 through 4 include the minimum of 144 hours of unpaid classroom training per year. When you get your class hours and your work hours, you advance to the next year. An apprentice will work for a union contractor during their apprentice and attends 18 classes per year, which are generally Monday through Friday. Some apprentice training might involve Saturdays. The 5th year is mainly on the job or stepping up to foreman training. And our wages currently are $55.02. And as a first year, you would get 50%. A second year would be 60. Third would be 70, 80 up to 90. For our benefits, we have health, dental, and vision insurance, pension, defined and voluntary annuity plans. We're not currently hiring, but maybe in 2 years, we just finished our hiring at this time.
So applications come every 2 years, are you saying?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Okay, and you're saying that now you all are at the wage of $56 an hour?
55.02.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's good. All right. Well, thank you, Delia. I'm going to ask Arlena to tell us all about pipe fitters. And you're on mute, Arlena.
Yeah, it keeps popping off. Let me know if it goes back to unmute because it does it by itself for whatever reason.
Okay.
So I'm Arlena Hampton. I'm a pipe fitter, a journeywoman pipe fitter with Local 597 in the Chicago area. I'm in the building trade section. They have an HVAC section and a building trade section. I'm in that. I think they also have a pipeline section too, but I don't know that much about that. Let's see.
What did you do before you became a pipe fitter, Arlena?
Everything. Well, what didn't I do? Right before I became a pipe fitter, I was right before I got into the trades, I say I was substitute teaching up in Lansing, Michigan. Before that, I did graphic design and photography. When I was up there substitute teaching is when I came across a electrician who was doing the demonstrations for our class, for the class I was subbing for. And we talked about the trades, and I told him how I always wanted to get into the trades and how I was always discouraged from getting into the trades. And he basically told me it's not too late. I came back to Chicago. The first thing I did was grab my phone book because we didn't have the internet. And I started looking for something that could help me to learn more about the trades so I could make a better decision as to what trade I wanted to go into. And before I got into Chicago Women in Trades, I didn't even know what a pipe fitter was. I had never heard of a pipe fitter. So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how many years is the apprenticeship program and what are the requirements to become a pipe fitter?
The pipe fitter program is 5 year. The first 4 years you get apprenticeship paid, and the 5th year you get journeyman scale. The everything she mentioned earlier with construction, you definitely need. But with pipe fitting, you need to be willing to learn how to weld. Most of the apprenticeship program is based around you being able to master those milestones in welding, but they also teach you everything else too. You have to be able to do heights. We do a lot of heights in pipe fitting. You have to be strong enough to lift pipe, shift pipe. A lot of times we're dealing with pipe that's 10 inches diameter and larger, 20 feet. That's over 350 pounds of metal right there. So you have to be strong enough to safely be able to maneuver those types of materials. Yeah.
So tell me, what exactly type of work is pipe fitting?
So I like to say that pipe fitting is all pipe that is not plumbing. So we do if you see piping in um, a refinery setting, steel mill setting, food processing setting. We do heating and cooling for large institutions like the University of Chicago. So we do large chill water pipes as well as large steam pipes. Um, is there something I missed? Food processing. I said that. Oh, water reclamation. I like to mention that we do. That's probably the extent of plumbing that we do, and that's not really plumbing. So we do all the piping and the steam piping for water reclamation.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of questions about each of you all's profession. But let me go back to you, Elisa, and tell me, why did you choose construction?
I chose construction honestly for the financial security is what brought me to the trade. What kept me here was the way it can change your life. I like to tell people that it's not just the tools, it's not just the physical labor.
Mhm.
You can go anywhere once you're kind of in the trades and once you're kind of in your union. Um, if you get involved and if you stay engaged, you can become an organizer with your union, a business agent, even just start by sitting on a council and learning a lot from that point on. It got me really involved in my community, my CWIT as a community, and my union's community. I originally was looking at the trades because I wanted something that would allow me to travel. And now that I have this skill set, I can work anywhere around this country by, transferring over to a different local. Um, I even went as so far as when I was looking at the trades to see, well, what could take me internationally, while I was considering what skill I wanted. And I'm sure there are many countries that would be happy to take someone with skilled labor. And so now what keeps me here is I like the challenge. I really enjoy being a woman on a job site and being able to show what I can accomplish. I can be here to organize and um, work with the other trades and install a system and see the end finished product, whether, it's in downtown and we're, completing coverage in a fancy law firm or whether it's a school. I've worked in elementary schools, high schools, universities, high-rise condos, small residential homes. Um, I like that it's something that keeps me active. I think that was really important when I was looking for career is the physical activity is something that actually brings me joy in my work. And I really am passionate about sharing what I do with other women who are looking to get into the trades.
Well, that's good because it's really needed to be, for people to know that those trades are out there too, and to see women doing it, it's a great affirmation for some people because I never seen trades women when I was coming in, and it was good when I got in there to know that there were other people had interest that came into the trades as well. Delia, can you answer that for me as well? Why did you choose construction?
Because I saw an opportunity for growth and all the benefits my union had to offer because I had a dead end job in retail and I was in management. Also, learning something new every day, going to different job sites with different materials and skills, helping build a future America, which I'm very proud of, like O'Hare Airport expansion, Terminal 5, Obama Center, University of Chicago, the new Cancer Center. I've worked in various areas because we have a big jurisdiction from Peoria all the way to Northwest Indiana. I've also traveled for work in St. Louis territory and Wisconsin territory, which was a nuclear run, which my pipefitter friend joined me along. So I was insulating her pipes.
Well, thank
So
you.
it's been very good to me.
Okay.
The trades. I work consistently. I had a good apprenticeship program with teachers and people on the field that were patient enough to help me learn. So it's all about a team effort. So I'm trying to give back what has been given to me in whatever way I can. Whether it's opening up a door or saying hello and greeting by name, it goes a long way.
And especially in this time with AI, it is a very good way to have a skill that no machinery can replace you on, really. Alina, why? Why did you get into the construction field?
Um, I've always, so like I said, I've always liked working with my hands, and I always like being in outdoor settings. Um, for the most part, it's something that being an artist, I've always liked creating and seeing something a project come to to completion, and getting satisfaction out of seeing my work, and hoping that it's functional for people. So I don't know. I've always liked building things. I probably was like that one girl that was building forts when I was young. So it kind of started out of that, building forts,
Mhm.
um and just doing art and wanting more. The more, not being satisfied with painting and drawing, wanting something bigger, better, stronger. And welding gave me that. So when I discovered welding, I fell in love with it because it gave me everything that I felt like I was missing, as far as a skill in learning how to make something look good or strong or sturdy or usable.
I can relate to that, and that's why it's so important too that when students or participants come to these programs, that they have those hands-on experience, because it's amazing how you connect to some type of trade when you're doing something. That's how it was for me working volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. I had no idea how much I love to work with my hands until I actually did that. So I'm glad that a lot of the training programs incorporate hands-on experiences, because those tools speak to you sometime, it's like the trade choose you. So that's good. It's very interesting to see how each of you decide to come into the construction industry. So what personal qualities, and I'm coming back to you, Elisa, what personal qualities do you think a person should have or need to succeed in your job as a sprinkler fitter?
I would say if you're considering being an apprentice, specifically, you should be prepared to ask questions. And what I mean is, there's so many things to learn, and depending on what you're going in, at what field you go into, it almost feels like learning a brand new language. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm learning things, like I become really observant and kind of quiet. And one thing I did notice is that it helped me learn more with simple questions of, you know, hey, why did you do it that way? Why should we do it that way? Or what's the reasoning? It's something as simple as, man, that felt like that took me a long time. Do you have any tips? Like, how do you do it faster? How do I get better at this? Um, that helped me learn to trust my own decision making, as I gained experience. Okay, now I understand and I know why we do this, and I can do it with confidence. And the more and more you do it, the more proficient you become. And even today in my role as a foreman, I probably don't ask as many questions as I did as an apprentice, and I probably should. It goes a long way. Overall, in this industry, I think excellent communication goes really far, especially when you get into leadership, especially when you're coordinating with, the GC on a project or the superintendent on a project, plus a project manager, plus, the person in the shop ordering and delivering you material, making sure you're clearly stating what it is that you need to get the job done. I always tell apprentices you have to give yourself grace because your job as an apprentice is to learn, and part of learning is making mistakes. And I think sometimes this is a tough industry to feel like you can make mistakes, or sometimes as a woman, you feel it a little bit more when you do make mistakes. And I like to remind everyone that, you know what, that especially as an apprentice, it is your job to make mistakes and to learn. And then learning never really does end. All of our fields kind of continue to evolve. Um, and as more technology comes in, you're really still learning those things. And the last thing I will say is kind of have a thick skin, be prepared to receive positive and negative criticism, or just criticism in general. Um, you know, sometimes people will say, I don't like the way you did that, or you did it wrong. And it's like, okay, that doesn't feel that great, but why did I, okay, great. What did I mess up, or what did I miss? Or especially if you're looking, to make a client happy. Okay, what don't you like about that
Right.
so that I can do it a different way? Um, and sometimes you can make them happy, sometimes you can't, but you gotta, just keep on going. And so, be ready to receive receive that.
No, that is so. The thing that resonates with what you said with me is having a thick skin, because especially women and people of color, you will receive that extra criticism that can break you. But you have to have that thick skin, and like you say, ask questions. If I did something wrong, show me the right way to do it, or tell me what's wrong, because that whole industry is one that's not welcoming all the time. So if you don't have that thick skin to survive, you may not make it out there. So that is a very important point. Thank you for sharing that.
I might
Arlene,
add a community that could, having a community, my sisters here, Lena and Delia, to be able to say, hey, man, this is what I'm dealing with on the site, and knowing that they know as well.
mm-hmm.
So thanks.
That really does help. Because we have students all the time coming back to then and talk to each other about their experiences out there. Arlena, what would you say is the best quality of a person being if they wanted to be a pipe fitter?
A willingness to learn. The pipe trades cover a multitude of tasks and skills. A lot of times people think of pipe fitting and they think solely of connecting pipe via welding, but we actually have quite a few different ways that we join pipe. So you got to be ready to learn. If you have to come to a job, if you're doing say poly pipe, you need to know how to do that. If you're doing Vitalic, you need to know how to do that. I mean, you're not going to show up on a job knowing that stuff if you've never had it, but no, if you never had it before, but you definitely like Alyssa said, ask questions and show your eagerness. I think of a cautious eagerness. I call it a cautious eagerness because you have to, be ready to do the work. You have to be willing, fast, quick, but you also have to be safety conscious at the same time. And but like I said, being open to learning new things, being open to learning all of the different ways that we join pipe, and also um um what did I say before?
Willingness to learn. That's a good point though, because in each of our fields, there is a array of things that you have to learn. It's not just one thing that you have to learn, but there are a variety of areas that you have to learn. And sometimes you could be 5 years in there and have never done some of the things that other parts of the fields require. So I understand what you're saying when you say that, though. They have to be willing to learn. Delia, what would you say is a personal quality that a person would need to be an insulator?
To be physically fit, mentally fit, a fast learner, and eager to work, and asking the questions. That if you're not unsure of something, be sure to reach out for help.
Absolutely. And
Because
you
when you're
know,
first,
go ahead.
when
Uh-uh.
you're first in the trade, there's a lot to learn. The culture, the terminology. So be patient with yourself.
That is important because you really feel sometimes that you're not learning things quick enough. And it's not that. It's just that, everybody learns a different speed and rate and everything. Everyone is covering something different in their apprentices sometimes too. So yes, you have to be patient with yourself. Thank you for that answer too. Okay, so I'm coming back to you, Elise. So what's the best part of your job?
What is the best part of my job?
I know for me, it used to be seeing my pipe runs and to see them straight. Oh my God, that just make I go into restaurants now and look at everybody else kind of do it up there and judge them. So it's an
It is.
automatic
It
thing.
definitely is a job well done.
Mhm.
When I kind of fill my system up, right? Okay, it's up to pressure, everything's holding, no water's on the ground, that's great. Okay, please sign these test papers. These are the last things I need to give to you.
Mhm.
And like walking off a job, especially if you have handed over the job to the point where everything's nice and finished and polished.
Mhm.
That is really nice. I like new construction the best because you installed something huge that wasn't there before, and that's really rewarding. Um, I would say going back to the financial benefit, I think what I've been able to do with my life as far as travel and volunteer, that hits a priority for me. So I can afford to visit my family in other states on a regular basis because, this job provides me financial security. And the other thing would, I guess, be my volunteer work, really, with CWIT and the other apprentices that come behind me to kind of just it's really nice to go to my union meeting and go introduce myself to them because that's just who I am. Hey, I've never seen you before. You're new. My name's Alyssa. Here's my number. If you need anything, call me because I didn't have that when I was there.
Right.
I would look around and I'm like, I don't see anybody to go introduce myself to.
Right.
As
Right.
like another woman. And so that's part of my favorite thing about, being in my local now.
Delia, same question. What is the best part of your job as an insulator?
About going to different jobs, whether it's commercial, residential, industrial, and learning all specs and different materials and running work and being part of the team and getting it done on time within budget. It's just so rewarding. And just like Alyssa said, standing back and looking at your work and you're just like, I'm very proud of myself.
Right. I hear that because going to a new job is exciting sometimes. You never know what's going to happen or what is expected. So yeah, that could be very exciting. Arlena, what what would you say is the best part of your work as a pipe fitter?
I think I get a thrill out of seeing a job accomplished when in the beginning it looks like it's going to be impossible. You walk on there and they tell you what needs to be done, and you're looking like, and how is that going to get done? And just going through the process of figuring out how to get it done and get, the right tools that we need for it, making sure we have everything, and then seeing it happen is pretty incredible sometimes.
Well, let me steer this to let's talk about being a woman in the trades. What would you say is your biggest challenge as a woman in the trade, Elisa?
Um, I, I would probably say, and it probably changes throughout the year or throughout the job site, but um, something I think that resonates with me more coming into a supervisor role is maintaining confidence.
Mhm.
And that's something, we talked about, especially when you're, receiving both positive and negative criticism or feedback. Um, you know, the pressure a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, for the most part, though, I've had really positive experiences with anybody that I've worked with.
Mhm.
Most guys think it's kind of cool for you to be there. Um, some guys just leave you alone completely. That's fine. I'm here to work and do my job and go home at the end of the day. I don't need to make chit chat. I have made some great friends as well. Um, but every now and then, I would say my biggest challenge is not to let that narrative come into my head of, are you giving me a hard time because I'm a woman? And that's as far as like um pushbacks in meetings or, coordination or questioning my decisions.
Mhm.
Sometimes I do have to explain to you, no, this is what the code is and this is where this belongs. I'm sorry if that's not aesthetically pleasing to you, but you know, this is what I have to do, or we have to make a different solution. Um, and so, trusting my expertise, trusting my experience, and knowing that, hey, I'm here, I'm doing a good job, no matter what you may how you may perceive it. I'm just as good as the guy fitter before me and the guy fitter coming after me.
Okay. Can you answer that for me too, Delia? What is the biggest challenge you would find as a woman in being an insulator?
I would say now and when I first started would be that construction culture, which can make or break you, but just words of advice to have the self confidence in what you're doing, be able to speak well, and your willingness to learn, that you're trying and they will accept you.
Arlena, I'm sure you have some stories to share. What is your biggest challenge you feel being a pipe fitter, a woman in the construction industry?
I think right off for a lot of times it's the hostility that that greets you sometimes. People acting like they don't want you there, and then you have at least one person trying to figure out how to get you fired the same day you show up.
Mhm.
So trying to focus, do a good job, and give your best, knowing uh that you're getting that pushback, that you got, people who are more consumed with trying to find a mistake that you made as
Mhm.
opposed to looking at all of the work that you've done properly. and
Mhm.
um and then you would think that after them scrutinizing your work and not finding any mistakes that they be satisfied, but a lot of times people, they're not satisfied because in their minds, if you're at this job and they got a buddy somewhere who's sitting, then you shouldn't be at this job.
That is so understanding. That brings to mind that I used to say when I was describing working as a tradeswoman that every morning I felt like I had to put on a coat of armor. And it's not like I had to fight every day, but I had to be prepared for what would be coming at me that may be this harm to my confidence or, just someone shooting off at the mouth to make me feel less than. And so I don't know, it's amazing that I feel like I did it for 16 years and didn't lose my mind, but I was good at what I did. So, I was able to succeed in that field. But I understand how when you say the hostility, because there is some, but when you love what you do, you don't let anyone move you from that. So yeah, those are the challenges I feel thank you for sharing that too. And Alisa, have you seen a change in the field since you started?
Is this a change like for women or okay? Um, I will say since I joined my union, and I've been a member for almost 9 years now. Um, the change that I've noticed with my program is they are bringing more women in. So I will say 8 years ago when I joined, they took about 120 applicants, and four of us were women. And I was the only one out of my class to complete my journeyman level certificate.
Mhm.
And, you know, it is not, it's not always for everyone. People move. And now I see more women coming in. I think, the class after me had 5 women, and then about at least every class after that has had 1 to 2. And so right now is really exciting for me because I would say there's almost 10 apprentices, which, I mean, don't quote me on it, but I'm not sure that's ever, been true of our program.
Mhm.
Um, and so, that is exciting to have, kind of this, we're all, similar in age, brand new, so to speak. And it's an exciting time to see, what can we accomplish? What can we bring to our local for the benefit of the women here and the women to follow us? And to kind of be more of a presence, honestly. Out on the job site, it's still, difficult to see. I am the only one currently at my company, but you do see more of us out there. I mean, on my job site right now, there's 2 sheet metal female workers.
Wow.
There's at least 1 female electrician.
Mhm.
I don't know, 2 and myself. So that makes 5 on this one floor. And it's really nice in downtown every now and then. I see my friends from Chicago Women in Trades walking down the street, hey, so and so, what job are you going to? Oh, you're on that side of the street. Great, I'm on this side of the street. Or, riding in the elevator in some of these high rises, because there could be multiple projects going on. Oh, hey, there's a woman. How are you? Where are you working? Oh, you're on that floor and I'm on this floor. So we're there. And I think it depends on where you work. Especially city jobs, public jobs, or downtown jobs, I see a lot of women. But when I worked, in more rural areas on, the schools or car dealerships, I didn't see as many
Mhm.
women back then. But I am happy to see more.
That's good. I know that's a good feeling too when you see another woman on the job, period. You always want to celebrate. And Delia, can you tell me too, what changes have you seen in your years of experience as an insulator?
My girls are really striving and thriving. Like I see more female foremans. I see women advancing to the international level, GFs, um, other international positions as organizers. So we're being seen and recognized and playing some leadership roles. And just like Alyssa, like when I first got in the trade, there wasn't many women. I'm going on 19 years, and now I'm at Obama, and there's every room you go into, there's a female. And I'm currently at the University of Chicago in the Cancer Center, and there's a girl representing every trade where I'd be the only woman representing any trade. So it's just great, and to see a CWIT member on in the field is even more enjoyable.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Arlena, what changes have you seen? in your years as a pipe fitter?
Um, hmm, I don't know. I can't really say I've seen a lot of big changes. I do know that there tends to be a few more women than there have been in the past um, in the apprenticeship program, but I can't verify that. I don't know for sure.
And besides, are they more understanding too of women being on the job and us needing perhaps to take longer for bathroom trips or things like that? Have you all seen any of those changes happening? Because I know they used to complain sometimes we have to walk long distance, and now I'm hearing there are more women dedicated bathrooms, and so I'm sensing that there are some more understanding of what we need on construction sites as well.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with asking for a bathroom. That's
Mhm.
one thing in fact, the guys encouraged me to ask if we need an extra bathroom. They encouraged me because from that day on, they're like begging me for my key because it's usually the only clean bathroom.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Well, let's go to another question then. Alisa, what is the most memorable moment working in construction for you?
It was probably when I started running work and received a van and received a brand new apprentice. And it's like you barely stopped feeling like an apprentice, and considering that it was the difference of a mere few months, I was almost like, I'm still an apprentice. But, and now I have somebody brand new to teach. And, it was memorable because, man, did that day challenge me. Um, and, we did it. And it was fun to share with, my first day apprentice, like, I hope you're ready in 5 years because this is what you're going to have to solve. This is what you're going to have to do. And now he's, also in a vehicle and running work himself. And that was cool to, you know, no, I had just a little bit of a part in it because I gave him his first impression and first training and first, hands-on experience out on the job. And it was really satisfying to be able to do it my way, to give, at first I was like, here, we have a boom lift on site, and I know you're brand new, and but we're going to get you on that because they don't come around very often, and even if I'm going to take the time to let you get on there for at least an hour or so, um, because that's what I would have wanted, right? When I was an apprentice, even though I knew nothing yet. It's still part of our job. It's still something we had to learn. Um, and I remember that day feeling like, oh my God, this is impossible. How am I supposed to accomplish these things? And then we did. And I was like, okay, I can do this then. You know, yeah,
That's
that
a
was my memorable day.
That sounds so memorable. And when you tap out, when you become a journeywoman, we used to call it tapping out. But when you tap out, people expect you to know everything. So it's a fearful moment too, because you're like, okay, I can't make mistakes like I could as an apprentice, and everybody be understanding. I'm a journey person now, so they expect you to know the full everything that's supposed to happen in your trade. So that could be a frightening moment too, but good. How about
Was
you?
um I was gonna let me add one more thing. A tip for anyone joining the trades is that your network, the people that are going to support you, is everybody that you kind of meet and you learn from. And that's something I learned when I started running work, is because when I was afraid and I didn't know what to do, I realized I had all these people that I could call.
Mhm.
Hey, so and so, this is what I'm looking at, this is what I'm doing. What am I doing wrong? And most of the time, you have support systems, brothers and sisters out in the trade that can help you.
Yeah, that's excellent. You're right. That's a good tip too. Delia?
I would say giving back, whether it's mentoring at CWIT
Mm-hmm.
one of my sister insulators or male, seeing them succeed, us working as a team. It'll be the crappiest job, but we'll get it done and we're gonna have fun. And
Okay.
and that building relationships is huge on the
Yeah.
field and off the field, that you can ask something without judgment.
Yeah, that's important. Very important. How about you, Arlena?
I don't know. I had a lot of exciting moments. I mean, every time I get to do something new that I've never done before,
Mhm.
like she mentioned, being on the lifts, different lifts, working from heights. I mean, it's nerve wracking when you have to, maybe braze some pipe that's actually on the outside of the wall.
Mhm.
But once you get past, if you're on the 18th floor, once you get past your any fear of heights that you have, you find yourself, dangling off the side with a torch. It's exciting.
I've always been afraid of heights, but that's when I had to do the work, I got over it. But always, still am probably. But when you have to do it and you're faced with climbing the scaffold, things like that, it's like, this is my job. But last question. What advice would you give to someone interested in working in construction? Elisa, can you start off with your answer?
I would say 100% go for it. Um, the worst that can happen is that you find out you don't like it, and then it's not a waste of time. You learned what you liked and and what you did not like. Um, don't be discouraged. Um, know that eventually, at some point in time, you're gonna feel like, oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
It's normal. It's totally normal. But keep going because it's worth it. And um, you can make whatever you want from this. This is a stepping stone. You can keep on moving up whatever your passion is in this trade. You don't have to just stop at learning the tools.
Absolutely. That's some good advice. How about you, Delia? What advice would you give someone wanting to enter the trades?
And I say that at all my outreach, whether I'm at a table or I have the TOP group down at Local 17, is slow down to speed up, because when in a hurry, this is when mistakes,
Mhm.
accidents, and unfortunately injuries occur. And never hesitate to ask for help, please.
That's right. Absolutely. Arlena, what
I
advice?
would go ahead. Oh, my advice? I
Yes.
would say it definitely go for it. I mean, it's fulfilling work. And almost everything that you're gonna learn, you can apply to something else. So you're learning skills that make you confident to go home and build a deck, or confident to fix, make repairs around your home. I tell people to go for it. If it's something you think you want to do, and you have some little itch or inkling for it, go ahead and go for it.
Good. I like to tell our students too that wherever you plant your feet, you belong. And it's important that they know that, because that sometimes people will try to make you feel like you don't. And it's a lot of things, that lessons they have to learn being in the trade. And because this network of people we have in Chicago in the trade is so strong, they have a lot of resources. I didn't have that in the trade, and I wish I did. But I want to thank all of you all for giving us your time and making this a memorable panel tonight. And I'm going to ask and open this up for questions. If anyone have any questions, you can either put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask. We have a small audience today too. So Okay, well, if we don't have any questions, I'm going to ask Dr. Carletta to come back on so she can instruct everyone about the survey. And thank you, panelists, for the wonderful presentation. Thank you all.
Wonderful job. Thank you again.
Thank you.
So right now, you'll be seeing in the chat a link to get to our Mentimeter, and that will give you the opportunity to participate in our feedback. And we will begin sharing our screen so you can give us your thoughts on what tonight's panel discussion was about. So in a word, can you describe your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway?
I'm going to say sisterhood.
Okay, go ahead. That's wonderful. If you have access to Mentimeter, go ahead and type your answer in a survey.
Oh, let's see. No.
If you go to menti.com, it'll come up and you put that code in at the top.
Gotcha.
Someone said possibilities. Does everyone have access to the Mentimeter? Can you get in? Okay, the link should be provided to you in the chat. All right, support system, confidence, good. Any of other takeaways that you got out of this panel discussion? Sisterhood. I like to think that you guys share so much wisdom about the experiences that you've had in each of your respective industries, and I thought those were really good pieces of nuggets to take away. One person says, never too late to start. Very good. And we also have resilience and progress. And that's really true to anything that we do. We have to just be resilient no matter what. And so to give that as advice is a wonderful thing. So we're going to go to our next question. Please share your views on this panel discussion by rating the following statements from 1 being the lowest to 10 being the highest. To what extent did this panel discussion meet your expectations? We invited 3 guests from insulators, pipe fitters, sprinkler fitters, and how likely are you to attend a similar event in the future? And how likely are you to recommend a panel discussion to others? Very good. Thank you for your contributions. All right. Next question. The panel discussion topics were relevant to what I wanted to learn about this subject matter. And you can rate your answer from strongly disagree all the way to strongly agree. Okay, neither agree nor disagree, strongly agree. Are there any other responses? Okay, great. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Strongly disagree. All right. Any other responses before we move on to the next question? Okay, thank you. So the panelists shared relevant information to what I wanted to learn about women in the trades. Again, this is from strongly disagree to strongly agree. We have 1 response. Okay, any others? Okay, good, good. Thank you. Thank you. All right, and we'll move on to our next question. I plan to apply what I learned. Again, same set of questions, same set of responses. Agree to disagree. I plan to apply what I learned. There were a lot of things that were shared. And so this is a very good question to have a good response to. Thank you, guys. Let's move on to our next question. What improvements or additions might you recommend for women in trades in future panel discussions? I'll say that one more time. what improvements or any additions you might recommend for women in trades in future panel discussions. Tell us what you would like to see. And if you don't have any recommendations, you can simply put NA for no, okay, a bigger audience, not sure. We'd like a bigger audience as well. This is good information and we want to get it out to as many people as possible. We will, however, have the recording posted on our partner guide when it is available. I will send out the link to CWIT and share it with you guys. All right, let's move on. Any other responses? NA, I thought it was good. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts? Okay, let's move on. What did you find effective in all of what we've talked about today? What was the most effective thing you noticed? And if we make any changes, what do you recommend we keep? There were multiple segments, multiple questions and categories. What was most effective for you? Sharing personal and realistic experiences. Excellent. That was really good. It's always good to know people's background, where they come from, what made them make this decision, and that helps others. So thank you for sharing that. Are there any other responses for this question? I think the panel concept is effective, getting insight into what the trade requires. Yes. The multiple stories and perspectives. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Any others before we move on to our next slide? Okay, thank you. Is there anything else about this panel discussion you think we should know? And again, if you have no comment, you can say NA. Thank you for that. No comment, NA. Okay. I take it that it was good. All right. Thank you for your responses. And I believe this was our last question. Let's see. Yes. So what I'd like to also say is thank you to Alyssa, Delia, and Arlena. You guys did a wonderful job. And I appreciate you taking out the time tonight to be with us. Have a great evening, everyone, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.